Yeah. Welcome back, folks.
Welcome.
Episode, what is this, 17?
17.
17 of the Wrinkled podcast. My name is Morgan. That's the wrong direction. This is Hunter.
This is.
And we got some juicy stuff. All right. We already know we're starting off with Baldur's Gate 3.
Absolutely.
Just came out on what, Thursday? Right?
Thursday, yeah.
Just quickly before we dive into stats, which I know you already have, it is the first, for me, the first turn-based game I've actually deeply enjoyed. Ever. I've tried, XCOM. I've tried stuff like that. I've tried
Oh, XCOM is so good, though, too, man.
in terms of, not RTSs, but what's a turn-based, like Civilization, like those type of games.
Command and Conquer.
Yeah. Like a
StarCraft.
lot of turn-based games. I could never get around to it. But this is, again, the first turn-based game where I've been like, oh my God. And apart from, let's say, like God of War or Spider-Man, it's the first game that's come out where when I'm not playing it,
You want to play it.
I want to play it. I'm thinking about, I might be doing something else I enjoy, but I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to hop back in. It's just so good.
Yeah, we've been... we started up the save on Thursday when it came out. We've been playing. We're probably, 8, 9, 10 hours in, something like that.
that's what I was thinking.
There's been a lot of save scumming and things like that where something bad happens or we get into a predicament, we reload the save, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
an actual, if this were D&D, obviously that's not the case, but you're right. It is something that even though I'm doing something else, I'm watching something or I'm playing something else, I'm like, dude, I really want to play Baldur's Gate. I really want to start another character, continue on that character, keep the character that we started with. If we play together, we can just hop back on that character. Because if you guys don't know, there is a mechanic where if somebody joins your save, that person's character stays on that save. You have all your other people in your group too, but you can continue on with that person and they can hop back in. But I think it's going to be better to just separate the two, have one save for your whatever, and then have the multiplayer save. And it's still, it's still surprising, honestly, it still just boggles my mind. Like, what were we doing? No spoilers, but we were fighting like one of 3 bosses, and we were in a fight. Morgan decided to get the high ground. He gets pulled off by one of the one of the guys and ends up prone on the ground. And
Yeah, I'm in the rafters 40 feet above us.
Yeah.
And some dude yanks me off with some sort of spell, and I
Yeah.
just land on my back, and I'm just like, ugh, I take 10 damage. It's like,
it's just one of those things that you play it like you would play kind of like not any other game, but you would think like you would play it any other game. There's a lot of pre-decisions and obviously some metagaming. We're talking to each other, obviously, we know a little bit more. We can kind of maybe say, hey, let's try not to do that, or let's do this instead, it's kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, if anyone watching has never played D&D,
Yeah.
95% of the game is ruled by the dice roll.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting if you've never done it before to say, oh, can I do this? And it's like, well, if you roll high enough, you can.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. There's a limitation for a video game because when you're playing tabletop, it's all in your head. It's all, in the people you're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
But in a video game, whether it be conversation, oh, can I persuade them to do this? Can I lie to them? If you roll high enough, you can.
Yeah. What was it? You're trying to intimidate that
Yeah.
tall troll. You needed a 20. And I'm like, what did you roll? A 4 or something like that? I'm like,
yeah. This is like the ogre from the first Harry Potter.
Yeah. Troll in the dungeon.
Yep. And I'm all of 6 feet trying to intimidate this thing.
Like,
Like,
let's
get
see how
up.
well that goes. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
Um, but it's come out just kind of how like Barbie and Oppenheimer came out the gate swinging. This thing came out the gate swinging. It's like the excuse me. It's like one of the first big like summer releases so far. I want to say, um, and it has taken the cake, man. I just pulled these stats from SteamDB, Steam Database. It's a website that tracks all Steam traffic, network, all that kind of stuff. Um, this was roughly 30 minutes ago. I pulled these numbers. There was 789,908 players on a 24-hour peak,
Holy shit.
and I think that puts it in the top 10 of most
Concurrent.
played Steam games. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Dude,
Um,
it hit 500,000. So when I heard that stat, I'm like, that's impressive. And then I realized that was on a weekday.
yes.
And then the weekend hadn't hit yet. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
So the peak we're seeing now is the same number, 789,908, and that's for the 24-hour peak. So I'm sure if I were to go on there again and pull the numbers up, it'd probably be a couple thousand more or less, just depending on.
You're right. I also saw I think it was the #1 streamed game on Twitch, like the day it came out.
Yeah, one of the people I follow was playing it. It has Twitch integration too, so it has like dialogue options. You can like say, "Hey, chat wants you to pick this option," or whatever the case is. You know, has something like that. There are drops for Twitch too, rewards. It's like underwear or like underclothing. You know, so kind of funny in that regard. But it also has a 91.5% positive review rate, which I believe on Steam, if I were to check
That makes it
the
hit the whatever the highest tier of positive review is, right?
yeah, overwhelmingly positive, I
That's it.
believe.
I honestly, if I had to guess
Yeah, overwhelmingly positive.
what people wouldn't like about it, it's the turn-based, which is what turned me off of like a bunch of games because it was turn-based.
Mm.
Maybe the length, like how big it is. You know, a lot of people don't have time.
Yeah, and I think that is, I think that's something that kind of goes to like these games that are like, you know, when we hear 20 hours, you know, like, oh, this game's gonna be like 20 to 25 hours. You go, man, that's not that long. But like, that's a day. That's you know, a day straight of playing essentially. You
Right.
know, if you're a perfectionist or a collector, it might be even a little bit longer. You know, I'm one of those people who when I go into an area, I want to see everything.
Right.
You know, I want to know what's here. I want to know what's there. I want to be looking around,
You don't
looking
want to
for
miss
loot.
anything.
Exactly. You know, because it could. And again, it's D&D, but it's reskinned, obviously. But it still maintains the same formula. There can be anything around that corner. Like, what did we find in that cave? It was a owlbear.
Oh yeah,
You know,
dude, that was.
just out of nowhere.
Yep.
It's like, who? And the only way we would have known that is when we got close enough. Your characters can do passive perception checks or nature checks. I think that one was.
Yeah.
And if your stats are high enough or whatever, or you get lucky with the dice, it's going to say, "Hey, this was successful," and your character will say like, "Oh, tracks" or something like that. You know.
I love that because again, and that's part of the charm of the game that I love. Had you rolled a fail on that check, you would have been able to visually see the tracks, but your character wouldn't have went, "Oh,
No.
owlbear tracks." So you would have walked in not knowing what it was, and then be
Exactly.
like, "What the hell is it?"
Yeah.
It's the little things like that, or that first area we stumbled into, the ruins, where we encountered that one character who's now in our camp.
Oh
The
yeah,
the
yeah,
reclassing.
yeah.
The fact that we
Oh,
would have
yeah.
had to fight him, but I answered his question correctly. He wanted to
Correctly,
know
yep.
something, and I'm like, "Oh, this sounds like something he'd want to know." And he's like, "Okay, I'm satisfied. We'll
Mm.
meet again." Didn't have to fight him, and it was like, that is so cool that that's an
Yeah.
option.
You kind of get into this. It's almost like a zone. You know what I'm saying? Where like you're kind of honing in on like what you think could be correct, or you know, like how many persuasion checks do we make yesterday to skip like two of the goblin camps to get to like the final big one? You
Oh
know,
my
it's
god,
like
we did, yeah.
it's like who it's like, oh, we're just gonna go, we want to go talk to your boss. And obviously, goblins have a lower intelligence, so you're going to be higher with, you know, your persuasion checks is going to be a little bit better. You know,
Dude, there's something in my water. It's like a little
is
white
is it a subscribe button?
nunny. Hey, you heard it here, folks. Subscribe. Go comment. What do you think of Baldur's Gate 3? Hit that like button.
Enjoy your water.
Hit the bell notification because YouTube is making it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know you got to hit 5 things, but you know what? Just hit the subscribe because then you'll get notified,
True.
and then you'll hear us rant about dice rolls and
Yes.
rolling crit ones. Dude, when I explained that to like Abby's sister and her boyfriend, I was like, think about if you're this giant knight and you're trying to like stab a rat, but you roll a crit 1, your knife will fall out of your hand, hit a rock, bounce back, and hit you in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just kind of how like the charm of the game. It's like, you know what? That's an apt description.
Yeah. I mean, and that's essentially what it is. It is the charm of the game. You know, obviously, kind of like you mentioned earlier, it is a video game. So whatever goes, goes. You know, I DM. I'm one of the DMs. I usually do the rule of cool. You know what I'm saying? If it's sick enough, like you want to do some sick shit, I'm gonna take like 5 off the DC and be like, sure. You know, if you could hit that, then for sure, why not? You want to
Right.
throw your kobold rogue into this guy's face? Sure. You know, just make it cool. You know,
Yeah.
that's all I care for. Um, but obviously here you're kind of set in stone with your roles. You can't just like, I mean, you could save scum and you know
Yeah.
whatever, but usually if we then up, like the only time I think we've had to reload saves is like that first time we got like ambushed.
Oh,
We
yeah,
just got
yeah.
obliterated. You know, and a couple other times where they're like, let's rethink our strategy here. You know,
Yeah, but I
but
mean, even that next time we ran through that place where we got ambushed,
yeah,
I just talked to the people and I'm like,
yeah,
we're supposed to
just
be
talk to
here.
him. Yes, exactly. And I'm like, that's the charm of the game.
Yeah.
You know,
It's so cool.
because we spent like what 4 or 5 hours in that last goblin camp fighting all 3 of those bosses, you know, and I'm like, that's a whole D&D campaign right there.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, you know, starting from here going to here, blah, 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 that's like at least like 20 games of D&D. You know, like
Yeah.
it's actually crazy that like it's so fun, man. But yeah, I gotta shout out Larian Studios, man. Those guys they're a dream. I never played the first Divinity game, Original Sin, but I picked up the second one. I put a couple dozen hours into that. Seriously enjoyed what I played. And obviously, this being close to D&D, if you guys don't know, Larian is a privately owned company. They're not public, whatever the case is. They were approached by Wizards of the Coast, the owners of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, to make this game. And they gave all the support. They gave tools, you know, books, things they needed to kind of, and then they said, hey, go wild with it. You know, we want to see what you guys can make. Like I said, it is D&D, but it's kind of, there's a reskin to it, you know. It still follows the same formula, dice and checks and, you know, balances and all that good stuff, but it still follows the majorly the D&D format. So I think that's why I enjoyed so much. Because it takes almost the choice out of it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I could try to persuade him. You fail, it's like, okay, we'll find
Yeah.
something else. You know,
I also like that they cut out parts of D&D that they could without hurting the gameplay. So, you know, in D&D, even if you just want to like swing your sword and try and slash them, you have to roll.
yeah,
In this, it just shows you have a 60% chance. It does it behind the scenes. That way you don't have to roll every single time. Makes the gameplay quick and fun.
Yes. Yeah.
But then when it comes to conversation, you have those dice rolls. So it cuts it where it can to keep it fun. And then when it comes to the choices that matter, okay, let's roll.
Yeah. Like I said, I do prefer that. I'm sure once this game has been out for a couple months, modders will get their hands on it and, you know, kind of maybe revert it back to more of a D&D style where you're rolling for everything. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. As we're talking, I want to play the goddamn game.
Hey, me
You know
too.
what I'm saying? Like it literally is
Yeah.
a game like that.
I was gonna say after we stop recording, I'm like, hey, let's hop on.
Yes, we have a hag to kill, a green
Oh my-
hag.
dude.
And remember when I called it yesterday because she was kidnapping kids. That's
Yep.
what green hags do.
I was going to talk about that. The game is so cool. You have to think outside the box. How long were we at that door?
Dude. Yeah,
Like, it
that's
is
just crazy.
so cool. Oh, it's locked. Oh God, what do I do?
Yeah, you're talking to this door, and you're kind of like, it's afraid to let you in because if you go in the store and you die or whatever, then it gets like more years added to its because it's a
Like
person
sentence.
that was
Yeah.
turned into a door, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to be turned into a, I want to go back to being human, so it's afraid to let you in. But it's just like kind of like he said, you think out of the box, and you just kind of go, well, sure, you know. Um, like I said, the game lets you do that, and that's why I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Um,
And the fact that this is a pro for the game is sad, but nonetheless, there's no like game breaking glitches. There's no
nope.
microtransactions. There's no hey DLC immediately like season pass. It's a complete game
Yes.
from the get go. You get everything from the start. It's just it's great.
One clarification: there was DLC for the digital deluxe, which is $10. Um, but for $10, you get a soundtrack, you get like some items in game, you get like different dice for when you roll in game.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I mean,
the,
it's not like you're missing out on the campaign if you
no,
don't. Yeah.
no. And the thing is, if you had the game in early access, such as myself and such as Morgan, um, they gave it to you for free. You know, I think I paid $40 for this game when it was in early access. Just because I like Larian, I like what they do. I wanted to support these guys. I wanted to play. This turned into the game that I could not play because I wanted to go in as blind as I can.
Hmm.
You know, like up until we got out of the ship, got to like the first fight in those goblins before the druid camp. I pretty much played all that a couple times. I
Hmm.
didn't go any farther than that
Right.
because I just like I want to experience it when it comes out. Um, so like I would just sit there and like play a little bit and do whatever. Wait, it says we're at 20 hours. I thought we were at like 9 or 10. Dude, that's how long, bro.
Well, have
That's
you played
crazy.
some?
No,
Wait.
the early access don't count.
Interesting. Actually, I'm not
Mm.
even surprised, man. Like,
It's a testament to how good the goddamn
yeah,
game is.
it's
Um,
it's fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
but
It's such a complete game right now. Like, it feels so good to just.
I think the detriment in this game that's going to be the future is the replaying of the first act potentially.
Mm,
Because if you do restart a character, like how long have we spent on just this act alone saying a whole bunch of shit? You know, um, are you going to restart a character? Do you want to do all that stuff again? Kind of thing. Like I'm
yeah,
hoping there comes like a random start or
like a
something like that.
skip to. Well, one good thing is the very first part, the ship,
Mhm.
because
Not too long.
I started my own character outside of like our campaign, the
Yeah.
rogue, and since I already knew kind of what the deal, I mean, I got through that in like 15, 20 minutes.
Hmm.
So I think just knowing going into that, hey, I know how to get, crash landed and then start the big campaign. And then from there, I can kind of do what I want.
Yeah.
I think that, God, you might be right. I feel like it's just that part. It's just the ship. Because once you get on the ground, I mean, you can kind of go wherever.
Yeah. So the world kind of opens up to you a little
Yeah.
bit. And I do like that. So that's something positive. But I don't know how much of that map we've discovered, but it seems like nothing at all.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and we're not even to Baldur's Gate, which is like the big city.
Right.
We haven't seen anything there. We've literally only been to where the ship crashed, a druid grove, and a couple goblin camps. And a hag's hut,
Dude, that
essentially.
place is creepy.
It really is, yeah. And this is something that I didn't even know the game had, but we tried to take a long rest in the hag's place, and it was like this is dangerous. You cannot,
Right.
So I'm just like, oh shit. So you're kind of forced to like either retreat, kind of like we did, or just say, hey, kind of fuck it. We're just gonna have to do what we got to do and go through it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
It's been great.
it's really good. Um, yeah. So I
God.
I highly recommend if you have a PC and your PC and you have money to purchase this game, I recommend reading a couple of reviews, looking at some gameplay. Honestly, I think this game is kind of a game for everybody. You know, because turn-based as it is, it still is a great game. And like I said, I'm not the biggest turn-based guy myself, but I do like Pokemon and shit like that. So I can't be like, yeah, I don't like turn-based games, but
They keep it
it's just
quick.
yes, you know,
The-
nothing. There's no stagnation. It's all speed relative to what you're doing, which is good.
Yeah. It's oh god, it's been so good. Man, it just eats away. It's like I'm working and I'm like, God, I can't wait to hop back. It just it's a testament to how good it is.
Mhm.
You just
You literally, as soon as you stop playing, I'm like, I could just go again. I could literally just turn it back on right now and go.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I agree. Oh man, any big Twitter changes? I feel like
every time,
it's a
man, every
running.
time.
Yeah.
No, I mean a couple things. I don't have it on the docket here, but they did take the. Obviously, we talked about it last episode, but Musk rebranded Twitter to X. For
Oh, the username.
various reasons. Yeah. So they did take the person's username who was at X. Now, normally that's not allowed, but this guy tried to sell his Twitter account, which is not allowed via the terms of service. So they took that as an excuse to override that, take his account, whatever.
Right. Which yeah.
Sucks.
I just got an I just got a Steam notification. So and so is playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Dude, it's just you just see it, man. You just want to fucking hop in.
Come on.
But they also took the Twitter handle for @music.
At music. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. Because he's trying to turn Twitter into like an all-in-one.
Yeah, something like that. Even though Twitter's been huge in that regard, you know what I'm saying? How many, you know, government official accounts, you know, things like that have been on Twitter saying, hey, you know, this is what's going on, or you know, if there's like an emergency or something like that, hey, keep out of the area of blank and blank. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it kind of already had that like system built in, but I think he kind of wants to reinforce that a little bit more potentially.
And kind of add some more.
Functionality, maybe entertainment
Exactly.
side
Yeah.
stuff.
Maybe
you
like
know.
some panels like, hey, click this to swap over to. Kind of like how when the PS5 released, they broke up media and games so you
Yeah.
could swap and kind of
Yeah.
keep things consolidated.
Potentially, maybe you have like your. I mean, because one of the webs like one of their separate Twitter like platforms was TweetDeck. Now it's called X, X Pro, I think it is what it is. But they have panels there you can like see your whatever, but that's mainly web based. You know, I know the app is a little bit different, a little more cumbersome. I just wish the API would come back because some of those third party Twitter apps were just so good. Shout out TweetDeck, and then yeah, shout out Tweetbot as well. Those are two of my
TweetDeck?
favorite. TweetDeck and Tweetbot.
You said
Those
Steam
ones were
Deck?
goated. Hey man, got it right here.
You can play Baldur's Gate on that.
Yes, you can. But a little, if you guys are installing it on your Steam Deck, make sure it's installed in the SSD, not on the SD card. This man's really focused on that water, man.
Dude, it's like a little floaty white thing. Like it looks like a little crystal or like I don't know.
Just fetch it out, man.
Yeah, but then I gotta like, you know, I gotta go deep in that water.
Because I knew exactly what you're doing. As soon as I saw the hand kind of do that, I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
So I mean, as far as X is concerned, that's kind of where it's at now. So
Yeah. Very
Uh,
cool.
yeah,
Oh my! I can't. I just keep thinking of that Doctor Disrespect clip of him pulling that knife.
oh yeah, that like bayonet.
That is insane. I remember the first time I learned about that. How you can just like open chests and this knife, this digital knife is worth $5,000. I can go immediately sell it for real money. That blew my mind.
Listen, I sold my first knife for like $180 or something like that.
That's
It was like a shitty flip knife with like the worst float point and garbage condition, you know. But somebody bought it. I bought a few games with that actually. So
that's what
You
I'm.
know.
Man, could you imagine? You sell like a $10,000 knife. How many Steam games you could get with that?
Yeah. Like I
Wow.
said, it's a crazy market, man. I know I haven't played Counter Strike. I have hundreds of hours in Counter Strike. I think 700 something hours in Counter Strike. I played it a lot. Um,
What a world we live in. I love it.
yeah, but they so just a quick little side note on skins in Counter Strike. The it has something called a float point, which is like imagine there's a rectangle, you know, and obviously like the shades and coloring and everything is on that rectangle. If you were to take that gun and like just push it through,
Hmm.
let's say like you pushed it through, but you didn't get this color, you didn't get like this variation across it, the float point would be lower or higher. You know, the lower the float point, the more that that gun has like the skin on it. So we're getting down to like 0.0000, you know, of a
Interesting.
percent type shit,
Okay.
you know. Um, so like the lower a float point is on a weapon, the more it's going to be worth because the actual gun has more of the camo on. Like the guns and the knives will still have the camo on them, but
Okay.
some just have more, if that makes sense.
I see. It's like more
Um,
detailed, more in depth, more coverage.
yes,
Okay.
I think the most expensive knife that has ever been sold or has ever been, you know, whatever, was again an M9 bayonet, just a pretty simple knife. Um, and I forget the skin, but there's a skin with like reds and blues and golds on it. And if you got all three colors on the knife with like this much of the knife having this much and this much, so on and so forth, it was like worth a lot because essentially got like the perfect like skin denomination put on it. You know,
That's crazy.
it's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy stuff.
Well, dude,
Um,
the new Mission Impossible's out. I
yeah,
can't
Mission
wait to
Impossible has
see it.
been out.
I'm telling.
Um,
I
I
just
mean,
Tom Cruise. He's a beast.
dude, I mean, this guy is what 60 something doing his own. He's been doing stunts for years. You know, like
Whatever
I know the whole.
Scientology's like pumping into him, it's working because that
Yeah,
man's unstoppable.
they're trying to make him immortal, man. Um,
Damn it.
yeah, that's out. I have tickets for Oppenheimer in IMAX, actual 70 millimeter IMAX this weekend. Excited for that.
Is there one of
Um,
those around here?
yeah, in that direction.
Okay. The usual spot?
Yes. No, no, no,
Oh, okay.
no. It's a separate IMAX
I see.
that we have out here. Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
I'll send you the website.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah,
Um,
oh
yeah, very excited for that.
God, I feel like I've been so behind on movies.
I know. It's just been so hot here, and it's just I don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll go watch some peak cinema, even disregarding the heat.
Oh yeah, it'll be worth it either way.
True. Okay, I have an update on the strike, the Writers Guild and SAG
Oh.
after a strike.
Mm.
They met. More specifically, this was the Writers Guild uh, that met with the representatives of the major studios on Friday. I guess they wanted to talk about contract discussions and see when they can continue on. But at that time, nothing was reached. No agreement, anything like that was reached. So still, the strike is ongoing for both the Writers Guild of America, the WGA, and the Screen Actors Guild. I forget what the AF American FTRA. I can't remember what it's, but
Oh,
yeah, still ongoing.
you know what's funny? After we finished that last episode talking about this,
Mm.
like that same day, I hopped on TikTok and saw somebody else who was like, "Oh, I just got offered to write
That big dude, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, he like that was like the guy was saying he was
Oh,
the one that
okay.
lost like 1 million followers like overnight or
Yeah.
something for doing that. You know.
Yeah, he lost a lot, and people were just roasting him in the comments.
I
And
mean, what are you gonna expect, man?
yeah,
You know,
yep,
it's I don't want to say it sucks, but it's like you kind of have to know like these things are not gonna go over well.
yeah.
You know, as big as your audience
It's
is or whatever the
it's
case is.
it's one of those instances where short-term pleasure, short-term gain, the image, it's like, oh my God, this is great. But then you got to think about the long-term effects. Like, okay,
Exactly.
it's going to feel awesome right now. How's it going to affect me in 5 years? You know?
Yeah. No, I
So,
know.
but yeah, man, it's crazy. It really. Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Do you know what's the difference between, because I think Larian is what, a double A studio, or Baldur's Gate's technically a double A game. What makes it a triple A from a double A?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, like I think that term, I think AAA was a term initially described or coined for like big somebody who's developing a game. Like think of like EA developing a game and think of EA publishing a game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That would be a AAA, I feel like.
Right.
Or
Or
like back when
Activision, Call of Duty, or something like that.
exactly. I think something maybe that I don't agree with because that game is fucking peak, video game is Titanfall 2. It was, even though it was developed by a smaller team, it was published by EA. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So is that like a AAA thing? Is it a double A thing?
So
it
it's
had
like
the
a
backing of a
studio-sized
bigger
thing.
publisher. Yeah. You know,
Interesting.
like my favorite joke now is because Bungie was acquired by Sony early this year or sometime last year, late last year, I think, for like $3.5 billion or whatever. Like
Yeah.
pretty big fucking acquirement, But the joke is whenever something goes wrong in Destiny, it's like, oh, they're just a small indie company, They're just, come on, guys, they're a small indie company. They can't do no wrong. So that's like my favorite thing is when some shit goes terribly wrong.
Dude, you
But
know
yeah,
what's crazy?
what's
The 180 that's happened in Diablo. It went from like being pretty great on release to then that season 1, all those changes they released,
yeah.
to being almost unanimously like, wow, this is garbage.
Because here's the thing, man. I have thousands of hours in Diablo 3. Oh, I heard that.
Oh, the vibration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting a call.
Like I said, I have thousands of hours in Diablo 3, and that game, even though as good as fun as it was very samey. It kept like, you had the season come up, the season was free, everything in it was free. You didn't have to pay for anything, just the expansion was like $20 or whatever. But everything was free, obviously. You get your content for free, whatever, but it's all the same. It's very samey and whatever the case is. Diablo 4 obviously they're trying to change it up, and I respect that. That's something I actually really need to kind of go back through and finish and get into the season.
Yeah, me too.
But the issue was that they, again, as with a lot of, I think, games as a service games, like Diablo 4, like Destiny 2, like Apex, Fortnite, whatever the case is, things tend to be over nerfed first and then brought back in line. And that's kind of what happened because it's either such a detriment or they're seeing a lot of use case, whatever. I can be either way with that, because even though Diablo 3 is mainly a PvE game, it does have some PvP elements. I don't know what. I didn't look at the patch notes too crazy regarding the PvE PvP separation, but I know some things were affecting that, and they didn't want to like get it too out of line. So I understand it. But literally, like, it felt like a week after they brought out that patch. It's like, here's another one that brings everything back in line, and sorcerers are good again, and necromancers are good again, and druids are the same, and barbarians are the same, and the not the rogue. Is it the rogue? Ranger, whatever the hell
Rogue, yeah.
the demon hunter class is now.
Yeah.
They're just like they're being brought back down because their one hit kill potential is too high. But I'm like, that's the point of the class,
Yeah.
It's just
And that's the thing that always bugged me with Destiny. I don't
Yes.
mind PvP changes. I mean, okay, that's actually not true because I don't like when they try to balance PvP because there's always going to be a better player. It doesn't matter what you do to the weapons. There's going to be somebody who's better.
yeah.
So trying to make it so, oh yeah, we all have the same advantage, it's not realistic. But PvE changes,
Yeah.
it like Diablo 4, or again, could you imagine if they nerfed something in Baldur's Gate? Like,
I mean, I'm sure they will. I'm sure that there's somebody right now discovering the fucking absolute nuts ability that is, acid spray or some shit like that. Like, we just don't know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I just, again, if you're not playing against other players, like, yeah, you could say, oh, this boss is too easy. Okay, fine. I don't know. I feel like they always go into it with really good intentions. Like, yeah, we just want to like tone this down a little bit, but it's never done like that.
No.
It's like it's chopped in half, and now it's
Yeah.
ass.
I mean, this is for those of you who've played Destiny 2. I have thousands of hours into Destiny as a series. But one of the big nerfs they did to sniper rifles back in like 2020 was just recently reverted. And guess what? Those guns are not great still. You know,
Right.
like they took away 20% damage as sniper rifles do because they were the most. And like, here's the thing: this is why I don't go by usage case. You know, like people chose snipers because that's when encounters were kind of pushing to use. You know, it's like, hey, you should use a sniper
Yeah.
because this boss is far away or whatever the case is. It's like, I'm not using a sniper because it's the best in the slot. I'm using a sniper because it's better than the alternative, you know, for the range, for the damage, for whatever.
Right.
Like I said, everything has like a window of opportunity, and some stuff should shine and some stuff should be equal in terms of usage. But again, you can't expect everything to be, I could be able to use every weapon everywhere all the time.
Right.
You know, so I think that's the issue. But the thing with Diablo is you pick a class, that class should be viable for any level of content, end game, beginning, leveling, gearing up, whatever the case is. That class should be viable, and that's how I feel about it. I started off with the Druid. It's just something that I was like, yeah, it looks interesting. It has like a whole bunch of like cool shit in it, whatever the case is. But I'm like, the more and more I look, I'm like, man, this was probably the most viable class to pick without even knowing it, you know?
Right.
Because you have like armor, you can shred enemies, which is like give them weakening, make them vulnerable, do crazy damage, you know, survivability is good. It's like everything should be viable,
Yeah.
you know? And that tends to be the problem for a lot of classes is one class will run away because it's easier to set up certain things, you know, to set up this specific kit or whatever the case is, this type of ability than another class where it's like, hey, you need like this specific armor, this specific weapon, this many stat points, this whatever, you know, instead of just going, oh, slam, rock shootout, everything dead.
Right.
You know, it's like the build up to is a lot harder to get into, I think. So
Yeah, that's one thing that was really disappointing. Like, I really enjoyed my class, the Necromancer,
Necromancer's great.
but I mean, once I passed like 25, started realizing that, oh, all these minions are pointless.
Yes.
They die immediately. Even though that's like a big staple of the class. One of the branches is like, hey, you can have all these minions that fight for you and you just kind of enhance them. It's really cool. But they all die in 2 seconds except your golem, which is pretty viable, but the rest are just fodder.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that did end up buffing was the Necromancer's skeleton army. So that's something good.
That's good. Because that was like the whole allure of the class for me. Not like,
Yeah.
hey, you don't use any of that if you want to be able to compete in the end game.
Bone spear.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's boring. I hate being forced into one thing. You know,
Right.
I know for druids it was shred werewolf, I think, and then landslide. You know, earth totem crap. But,
Oh yeah, that I saw that ability on yours. That was pretty cool. It's like straight earth bending.
yeah, pretty much. So I get it, you know, but I'm a big fan of like looking at it, adjusting it accordingly, you know. But I'm more of a fan of bringing stuff up, you know. I want I want everything to be equalized across the board. Because, like I said, if I'm buying this game, I want to go through all 5 classes. I should be able to level, gear, and end game all 5 classes with relative ease,
Right.
depending on difficulty and world tier and whatnot. You know?
Yeah, if you're restricted to 2 classes with specific builds for endgame, then what's the point of the other 3?
Yeah. But kind of touching on, because you said, like, what if they nerf something in Baldur's Gate 3? You know, usually the only reason they would do something like that, I feel, is if that became the best choice for everything.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, you picked this class and you picked this character and you picked, like, this one skill because guess what? You could skip 30% of the first act just by doing this. You know, I'm like, that kind of makes some sense. Maybe some tweaking to dice and whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying?
I think
But here's something. It's funny you mentioned the nerf because in Divinity Original Sin 2, which is the game that Larian made before Baldur's Gate 3. You could have you could pick a power or an ability or something that allowed you to pick up like 5,000 pounds of shit, pretty much, right? Now, one of the things people would do, there's a video, I'll try and find it and show it to you, but what this guy would do was get like to find the biggest chest, put everything in this chest, smaller chests, enemies, loot, weapons, and use that to crush enemies and kill them in
And
combat
like
with it.
throw them, throw it.
Yes, yes.
I mean, that's smart.
But is it intended though?
Oh
You know
no,
what I'm saying?
that's probably it
the
was
thing,
probably like
you know?
one-shotting everything.
Yes, boss. Because here's the thing. In D&D, if something falls onto you, it's like every 10 feet, it's like 1d10 or something
Right.
like that. But with higher weight, it goes to like, it's like 60-10 for 10 feet for something that weighs over 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, I mean that statue that fell on us yesterday.
Dude, that's funny. I was thinking the same thing, you know. God, that shit was, bro, that fight was crazy. It's crazy because unironically, she was the hardest fight.
Oh
The
yeah,
other little elf over there wasn't shit. The actual main boss, it was like he had some damage and whatever,
Yeah.
but once we knocked him down in the pit, he was kind of useless. But her, dude, man, she was just fucking us up. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was bad.
That was a great fight.
Oh, man.
But like I could see something like that being tuned down, and they don't allow that now, you know, which is good. I think it would be funny, you know. I'm all
It also
for
wouldn't be as fun.
no.
Like that's God. What game is it? I think it was the Ratchet and Clank ones for me. Yeah. Because as you beat those games, as you get the gold bolts, you can unlock cheat codes like unlimited ammo, unlimited health.
Yeah.
That it's fun to go nuts every once in a while, but like running through a game where you can't die and you don't run out of ammo, there's no fun anymore because the risk is gone.
Yeah.
It's just let me mash buttons, let me run through everything. I don't know. And same with Baldur's Gate. Like if there was no risk of dying, if the enemies just had no chance, like it wouldn't be as fun.
No, I agree with you. Because again, it plays into your choices like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, was it smart to rush him like this? Should I have tried communicating? Should I have tried sneaking? Should I have tried finding allies? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be punished one way or another regardless. And
Yeah.
I think that's what the game does super well.
Hey man, you're gonna have to take a shot with us tonight. And if you want to
you
take a
guys-
shot with us, hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Hit that like.
It'll automatically fill the nearest,
That's
within
right.
5 meters of you, the nearest shot glasses. With,
Comment. Send this to other people.
What are you guys drinking? What is it called? What?
Tequila?
I thought it was like that Miley Cyrus drink or something like that.
Oh no. It's tequila. The brand is made by one of the Kardashians. She like released the tequila
Oh.
brand.
I thought it was called like Wet Pussies or something.
Oh. No, we haven't made those yet. That's the shot that I guess Margot Robbie, because she's Australian.
Oh, that's right.
She says that like that's like really popular there.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, it's
Yeah.
warm over there, so you need something
That's-
to cool down.
That's right, baby. I told him he's taking a shot with us tonight. Like I said, subscribe if you want to take a shot. 'Cause
Yes.
Then we'll upload we'll go to like Dave's Hot Chicken or whatever and get the hottest that you got to sign a waiver for, and then we'll eat that, and then we'll take shots.
Every time you
So,
talk about it, I hope you forget it. I'm like, I hope you forgot about that fucking Dave's chicken shit.
oh, there you go. You're right there. Please, thank you. Yeah, so that'll be entertaining for the audience and painful for us, which is, I mean, that's typically how things go, right? Oh my God, hot chicken and then tequila,
Sounds like the worst fucking
or
night of my
vodka
life.
on your end.
Oh god.
Yikes, that
Yeah.
is that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm already regretting ever entertaining this conversation.
Maybe we'll make that the first stream. Like once we build up enough subscribers and a base, that can be the first stream. People can ask questions.
Motherfuckers just gonna subscribe to watch some pain.
That's right. Hey, that would get me to subscribe.
True.
Thank you, baby.
Okay. All right. we got some more Twitch news.
Massive.
Do you know who Kai Cenat is?
Yeah, I think he's still on Twitch, but he's the dude. He did like the 30-day subathon and hit like a new
Yeah.
record. And
Yeah.
he's always streaming. Yeah.
So
I
on
feel
August 4th.
I feel like I know what you're about to say. I think I just heard about it.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't know how you just heard about this when it was like, this shit was crazy.
Yeah.
But he asked to do a fan meetup, and he was gonna like give away some stuff, some video game consoles and clothes and whatnot in New York City.
Right.
And apparently within like the hour, like 2,000 people showed up, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. You know, I
Damn.
think at one point I was hearing numbers between 5 and 7, 7 and 10. I'm not too sure on the exact number, but a lot of people arrested. I think it ended up with like 70 plus arrests, with half of those being minors. It was crazy. Yeah, like I say, he's getting out gift cards, PlayStation 5s, PCs, whatever the case is. But like literally, like apparently what happened was the NYPD. It was like they call it a level 4 mobilization. And roughly 1,000 police officers ended up responding to those people in the streets, and
Was it just, were they going crazy, or was it just that many people in one place that they were like freaking
there
out
was
about?
some people were like breaking in, not breaking into offices or nothing like that, but like breaking cars and damaging property and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And obviously with that, like, and here's the thing: the police probably didn't know, because what ended up happening was he had no permit to do this. It was an unlawful gathering of people. You know, like I said, I fucking hate that kind of shit, because to me, if I wanted to go somewhere, I shouldn't be requesting to go anywhere. God damn it, it's fucking United States. But
Right.
again, it's the damaging part. It's the fact that all of a sudden, out of literally nowhere, within an hour or so, there was 2,000 people in the city doing whatever. Cops didn't know what was going on. Was it an attack? Was it a whatever?
Yeah. I mean,
Like I said, it was so fast and so whatever. Like I would personally kind of start questioning this shit too.
yeah, I mean, I get it. The dude is massive in terms of
Yeah.
his following, so I'm kind of surprised he didn't put in a little like, hey, maybe I should like rent out an event center or something where
Like
this is,
and again, this is the issue with this kind of shit is you can kind of do and say and have whatever happen on your platform, but when it comes to like shit like this, it's like there are things you need to do to acquire.
yeah. I mean, you get that many people in one place, you're gonna start blocking like roadways and shit.
Exactly.
So
People were damaging cars, there was fights, I believe, and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't just like, hey, a couple people showed up and did whatever. It's like, no, this was a massive gathering of people in a very short amount of time.
Damn. Wow.
So yeah, the NYPD brought out a level 4 mobilization force. Yeah, and then apparently they're saying that tear gas was used and all kinds of shit.
Damn.
I know when he, like towards the end of it, or when he was leaving, like people were on his vehicle, like just footage of him driving off in his car with like a dozen people like on top of the car and shit like that. You know what I'm
God
saying?
damn.
Obviously
Wow.
not safe, not okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm really surprised I didn't, because I just heard about that, and I didn't even like hear the actual story. I heard somebody else commenting about it, and so I
No,
was
did this, like I said, did this happen on the 4th, which is Thursday or Friday? Sorry, excuse me, Friday.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, you got a following that big. You got to, again, rent out an event center where things can be like regulated. Like, okay, this is a specific location
Security
for something.
and
Yeah.
whatever. Again, that's just how it works. You like, you can still like. I get him. Like he wants to give back. Again, he is the most subscribed person on the platform. Like, you want to give back to the community, but there are ways to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't agree with the method, but I do agree with the motive. If that makes sense.
Right. He had the right reasons and the right
Yes.
intentions, and just not the right execution.
No.
So, damn.
But what ended up happening was the NYPD ended up getting him in custody, and it was reported that the affiliates with the NYPD over there said that he was going to be charged with at least 2 counts of inciting a riot and an unlawful assembly, probably and other offenses as well. So,
Inc-
I, I mean,
inciting a
dude,
riot.
that's and like that's the thing though is God, and I think the word we tend to use or tend to like associate with riot is like negative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're rioting for this or that, the other thing, and blah blah blah. But in this case, I think that is an apt. I think that's an apt charge.
I mean, that's
You
the
know?
result that happened.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I said, you have a duty as like somebody with fucking millions and millions of followers across all your platforms. You have a duty. Like I said, to me, this is no different than kind of. I know this is something you talk about a lot is being in a crowded movie theater and yelling fire.
yeah,
This is no different because
that's
it
true.
led to the same issue.
Outcome, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm surprised they're not just going to hit him with a fine, like, "Hey, pay this."
Honestly, that's probably what'll happen.
Yeah,
You know
because
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
was anyone like trampled to death? Did
I don't think there's any deaths. There probably were some
right?
injuries, uh, but
So
deaths, I don't think so.
I imagine that, hey, pay us a fine, slap on the wrist, don't do it again.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
know.
yeah, because I mean, I feel like if he got charged with something, I feel like that might do more harm than good.
But again, okay, and here's another thing too. Is this something that, and we see all the time, is this something that a DA is going to want to make an example out of somebody for? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, hey, a big streamer did something dumb. We can put something on the books here. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
think
set a
that
precedent
I
that
think
these guys are
that'll
not above the law.
I think that'll maybe that could definitely put out that viewpoint, but I think it also I could definitely see some people seeing it as, wow, so this is what these are the crimes you're focusing on. Streamer gives away a bunch of shit and like I could see the view of like, really, this is what you're
Yeah,
making an example of
but
this.
but like also at the same time, like
But I get what you're saying because there is a view of like, oh, these streamers are untouchable.
yes,
These
exactly.
big like internet celebrities, these big influencers can do whatever the hell they want.
I'm not gonna like name names and all like that, but how many streamers or YouTubers or the kid have been accused of these crimes with evidence, with proof, and it's disappeared in the wind? You know what I'm saying? Never, they don't
Yeah.
record anything again. They don't, they delete all the social media. They just live off the money that they made and disappear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In this case, like I said, with such a young-ish streamer with such a young focused platform, could they use this as not necessarily as fuel, but could they use this as a learning experience to say, hey, you need to follow the rules and get your permissions and whatever the case is to get this done, or else this could happen to you too,
Yeah.
type shit.
I think they could
'Cause,
definitely do that. Like hit him with a big fine, do a like a press release and
yeah,
have
community
him.
service or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that.
Because again,
Apologize. Yeah,
the intention behind the whole thing was meet fans, give away a bunch of shit.
yeah,
If that wasn't the intention for the meeting, I feel like they'd probably be more inclined to be more serious with any whether it be like charges or any sort of prosecution.
yeah.
But the fact that he was there with good intentions and everyone knew that, I think, yeah, like I said, community service, a fine, put out some public apology of, hey, you know what, I went about this the wrong way, won't happen again.
Yeah,
I
I
apologize
apologize
to
to the city and have
yeah,
donated this much to something like that. That's most likely outcome. Again, any good lawyer worth their salt will fucking get this guy off
oh,
without a scratch on his record. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So, yeah, I just think it is one of those things that like is something you got to be more aware of. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if whether it's him just kind of saying, "Hey, not many people show up," or whatever the case is, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously these could have went the other way. We're like, "Hey, only 100 people showed up," and whatever. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
I mean,
So
that might have been what he was thinking. It was in New York. I mean, are people really going to fly out just to, meet him and get a free whatever?
well, no, because here's what happened was he tweeted it or something like that. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna be here. Come meet me for some free shit." It wasn't
Got it.
like a predestined thing or nothing like this. Just like a spur of the moment. Say, "Hey, we're doing a meetup in New York. Come meet us here. We'll get you some stuff."
Got it.
You know,
Okay.
um,
Damn.
so like I said, and within an hour, 2,000 people showed up to a
That's
very small
insane.
area of New York
Yeah.
City. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Wow. Well,
I,
yeah.
I get the, you know, again, I like the motive. Like I said,
Oh
obviously
yeah.
he's wanting to get back. That's fine, you know. But you would think that you'd be a little bit smart about something like this, you know. And I think that's where we could see something different come into play. You know, again,
Yeah.
I doubt it because whatever, but I feel like this is one of those things that like some up and coming DA is gonna want to like
Make a name for themselves.
exactly, you know what I'm saying, want to put some pressure on this shit to like, hey, don't ever do this again, or this is what's gonna happen to you type shit. But
Right.
again, I don't think that'll happen personally.
And I'm sure, I mean, he's got more money than whoever, so I'm sure he can afford
Yeah.
some top-notch lawyer.
True.
Plead down to, like I said, fine and an apology letter and whatever else.
Donation to the
Yeah,
police ball, whatever. It is.
Yeah. Wait, policemen have balls? Huh?
Not the ones I know.
Oh man. Damn. That's crazy. I mean, it's not because these
No.
internet influencers have huge followings, but yeah, that's wild.
Especially with a younger audience like his.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a summertime. These kids are gonna be fucking running there. They're gonna tell their moms or whatever the fuck. You know, hey, let me get a slice and take me down to the Senate meeting. Oh shit! God damn.
Fuck, man. Pizza sounds good. Oh my god. Hey, man, you want to go play some Baldur's Gate?
Listen, man, it's getting to that point, brother.
Hey, folks, I hope you enjoyed this one. Tell us what you think about Elon Musk and Twitter, Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
This
Will
incited.
you be picking it up on PS5 and or PC?
Did you get some free shit before this New York thing got shut down?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Did anyone get like I don't know what he was giving away, like PC stuff or just.
Yeah, like apparently whole PCs, PS5s, gift cards, clothing, merch, all that kind of shit.
Hell yeah. What'd you get, if anything? And yeah. Go down there and comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things.
Yes.
Annihilate that subscribe button. Like take a baseball bat to it and make sure it knows that its only acceptable position is to be pushed.
You ever had your subscribe button pushed in? I have.
Firmly grasp it. I said firmly grasp it. Oh, what a day. Well, it's been fun, folks.
Yes.
Y'all have a good week. Have a good weekend. Stay out of the heat. Stay cool. Stay hydrated.
Yes, please.
You don't want to be passing out and then end up laying face first on this 120-degree asphalt. So,
No, thank you.
face looking like scrambled eggs. I know that sounds good too.
Oh, you look like Uatu from Total Recall.
Oh God. Well, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Oh.